I'd like to know what Christmas is like in your household, wherever you're from, what part of the world are you from, how do you celebrate Christmas, do you have any regional traditions that are specific to your area? Well, the Christmas season is well and truly upon us. Happy first of Advent, belatedly. This last Sunday, it was the first Sunday of the Advent period, of course, and like in any good German household, our decorations went up punctually on the Sunday. And I thought I'd take this opportunity, make this video and talk about why I find Christmas in Germany so special, and look at some of the differences between Christmas in the UK, how it was when I was growing up in England, and some of the differences between England and Germany, and of course look at our strange European constellation. Of course my wife is Spanish, we have a mixed Christmas, and see what traditions we like to mix and match. Mahlzeit, welcome back, Richie here again. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. And that was the first difference that struck me this year, came to mind this year. We were putting up our decorations on the 1st of Advent, the first Sunday in Advent, and it struck me that there's something that we don't really mark, we don't really celebrate, we don't really think about in the UK. And it's probably the case that Christmas in Germany has just got a bit more of a traditional feel for me, and I actually find it, maybe it's just because I'm getting older, but it's also because of my time in Germany. I enjoy Christmas more and more, and some of the German traditions. As I say, in the UK we don't really have this thing about the 1st of Advent. Nobody congratulates you, nobody says hi, happy 1st of Advent, whereas in Germany it's really quite common. We of course have the Advent wreath, the Adventskranz. People light a candle each Sunday, the 4 Sundays running up to Christmas, the last 4 Sundays. We have in the UK, of course, Advent calendars. That's something we do have, but I don't think we've got this consciousness about what Advent is. Of course, an Advent calendar begins every year on the same day. It starts on the 1st of December and runs to the 24th, and that's not exactly the same as the Advent period, is it? And this is something that's quite clearly marked. This year, of course, it was the 29th of November was the 1st of Advent, and as I say, it's the 4 Sundays running up to Christmas. I don't really know why that is, why that's died out in the UK. It's certainly a concept maybe you know, and maybe you can comment down below whether the Advent thing, do you have an Adventskranz at home? Do you have an Advent wreath? We haven't got one yet. I'm going to nip into town, I'm going to get one and light that first candle. It's a nice little tradition that I like to uphold. The second date that really strikes me as being very different in the UK and being very traditional here in Germany, there's still quite a Christian influence, I presume, is that on the 6th of December it's of course St. Nicholas's Day. Of course, St. Nicholas still plays a very important role in the Christmas celebrations in Anglo-Saxon countries, in England of course, but out of St. Nicholas we've kind of made this figure Santa Claus. As of course Sankt Nikolaus, Santa Claus, St. Nicholas, it's all the same figure somewhere along the line, but now of course it's our Father Christmas figure. There's probably been distorted over time by the Coca-Cola adverts, the Coca-Cola commercials and the colouring. There's this big fat man with a white beard and a red suit who comes down the chimney, and of course his day has been postponed back to the 24th of December. He comes on Christmas Eve and somehow gets down the chimney with his big fat belly and delivers the presents. For those of you not familiar with the German tradition, of course St. Nicholas's Day is still on the 6th, and it's very much been a merging of traditions. In converting St. Nicholas into Santa Claus or Father Christmas, we've kept some of the traditions of the original St. Nicholas. Here in Germany, of course, children put out a boot or a shoe outside the door, because St. Nicholas will come in the night and he will either leave presents, which are typically sweets, chocolates or whatever, if they've been good. And so see, it's the same idea, whether you've been good or bad, you get a reward or you get punished. And quite a barbaric tradition, supposedly, if you've been bad, the children have been bad, he will leave a bundle of sticks so that the children can be beaten. And some of these traditions are very barbaric, some of the older traditions, that's certainly true. And that runs us up to what for us, the English, is Christmas Eve, is in Germany Heiligabend. It's the main event really, it's the main Christmas day here, whereas in the UK it is still of course Christmas Eve, the evening before Christmas, what is the first day of Christmas here in Germany, the erste Weihnachtstag. The 25th is for us simply Christmas Day, with the 26th not being the second Christmas Day but rather Boxing Day. Heiligabend, the 24th, the Christmas Eve, sorry, for us in the UK, is when the family gets together, and it's the time of the main Christmas meal. Whereas in England, it's pretty much it's one last time to go out with friends. It's quite traditionally a big night out, going out. Clubs are open, pubs are open, getting drunk. There is still a tradition, midnight mass. People who don't go to church all year round suddenly get a Christian feeling and go to mass after they poured out of the pubs drunk, which is a bit of a strange one. Of course, a lot of these traditions, these Christmas traditions, like putting a Christmas tree up, for example, and I've heard on good authority a lot of people have said that was something that was imported from Germany to England, possibly by Prince Albert. There's certainly the royal family connection. If you have more information on that, let me know in the comments down below. But obviously a lot of those old traditions are actually old pagan traditions that have been in place for thousands and thousands of years before Europeans were Christian. So Christmas is not just for Christians, it's for all of us. It's just a big Volksfest, a people's festival. I mean, I often hear a comment, if you're not Christian, why do you celebrate all these days off? You've got Christianity and the church to thank for all these public holidays, these paid days off work. And I think that's not really quite fair. If you want to thank anyone for paid leave from work, it's the trades unions. Christmas is for all of us. I love Christmas. I'm not a Christian, really, but I do love Christmas. And of course, the presents are delivered on the 24th here, on Heiligabend, on Christmas Eve here in Germany, which was something that took me a long time to get used to, because when I first came, I always used to insist on keeping my presents till the 25th, or most of them at least. I thought it was terribly weird waiting for, well, who is the Christkind here in Germany? It's actually the baby Jesus that comes to deliver the presents, which is kind of weird. But then, if you're going to question how a baby boy, a newborn baby boy, can deliver Christmas presents, I think you have to get a little bit critical about Father Christmas as well. This magic fat bloke dressed in a Coca-Cola suit who gets down the chimney. Okay, of course what this all these different traditions led to in our household is a real mixture of things, because not only am I English and I'm used to doing things on Christmas Day, my Connie is of course Spanish, and they share the tradition with the Germans of celebrating with the family on the 24th, on Christmas Eve. The evening of Christmas Eve is when they all get together. They don't have presents though. There's no Christkind, there's no baby Jesus bringing the presents, because the presents don't come until the Magi, the three kings from the Orient, arrive on the 6th, which is pretty much for us, the 6th of January that is, actually pretty much for us the end of Christmas. That's when all the decorations have to come down. If you are superstitious, it's bad luck to keep your decorations up beyond the 5th of January in the UK, and it's pretty much all over. But for countries like Spain and Greek, I think the Orthodox Christians also celebrate the arrival of the Magi on the 6th with presents. So in Spain it's really difficult to get through the Christmas period without putting on 10 kilos, because you have the meal with the parents and your family on the 24th, a big meal. Then they have New Year's Eve, which is another big meal, and I'm not talking just like a 3-course meal, 2-course meal. They have like this huge menu of stuff, like 5-6 courses. And then of course on the 6th of January is another family meal, and what's known as a Roscon. So over the years we've had a real problem. We would have our meal on the 24th together. Quite often Connie and I will spend Christmas alone, which is the case this time, and maybe have visitors on the 25th, but we always came to an agreement that I would make the meal on the 25th, and because I wanted to preserve some of the English traditions, way back when we were still eating meat, I'd do a full roast, which is typically a turkey. In England it used to be a goose, just like in Germany, but modern days now it's more likely to be a turkey. And Connie would prepare something, because that was her traditional day with her family, something on the evening. Typically it would be something like frikadellen. If you don't know what frikadellen are, more like I say they're the forerunner of hamburgers, mincemeat kind of patty, staple of German diet. Nowadays, with us not eating meat, Connie does something with red lentils. Sounds kind of boring and dry, but it's really great. By the way, if you're looking for tips on vegan food, sustainable living, sustainable fashion, all sorts of things like that, do check out Connie's channel and subscribe to her, give her some love. But yeah, we'd end up having a huge meal. Well, you know, our frikadellen or our lentil frikadellen, lentil patties on the Christmas Eve, and then I'd make a big meal on the 25th, and then maybe we'd if we were going to Spain, we spent New Year's Eve in Spain once. We had a huge meal on the 31st, of course, New Year's Eve, and then it was another big meal on the 6th, and the roscon, this big cake type thing. It was absolutely impossible, so we've now decided to cut it all down a little bit, and I'm not sure what we're going to do this year. What we are going to miss though, sadly, like I'm sure all of you are, is the Christmas market. I've mentioned this in other videos that I've also already produced that have not been about Christmas per se. It's going to be hard. It's the first time we've been had Christmas in the pandemic, hopefully the last time, with the vaccination on the horizon. Let's hope this is all done and dusted next year. It's going to be a quiet Christmas. I'm certainly going to miss going and having a glühwein, a mulled wine. I think it's no coincidence, by the way, that the British are introducing more and more German traditions, like the German Christmas market. If you remember back to a video I did about a year ago, I went over to Birmingham and I was walking through the city, and they had a huge Frankfurt style Christmas market, completely German, all the signs, all the food, all German, and mulled wine. Of course, mulled wine is not a particularly German thing. It's definitely an English Christmas tradition, but it's one that's died out, and that's what brings me back to this idea that I think Christmas here is a little bit more traditional, a little bit more oldie worldy, and I think that's why I get into it a lot more. And as I say, it's no coincidence that the English are now importing these German traditions, and I'm sure the idea of a Christmas market back whenever was not foreign in the UK, but it kind of feels like for modern Brits today, it feels something kind of almost Dickensian. Well, I think we've probably just been subjected to the over-Americanized commercialization of Christmas, and it all comes back down to the big walking Coca-Cola advert that is Santa Claus or Father Christmas, I suppose. That's my brief thoughts on Christmas. I'd like to know what Christmas is like in your household, wherever you're from. What part of the world are you from? How do you celebrate Christmas? Do you find German Christmas as good as I do? Do you have any regional traditions that are specific to your area? Let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing and leaving me a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one. Mach's gut, Leute.